Hi everybody, welcome to Sun Racing preview of this weekend's racing. I'm Tom Bull, and this week delighted to be joined by Steve Mullen, aka Templegate, and Jack Keane of Sun Racing to discuss the weekend's cards, of which there are plenty of good races at Newbury and also at Ayr. And we're going to start off at Newbury at the Berkshire track with the Dubai Duty Free Handicap, which is a pretty competitive affair with Ilarab for William Haggis having won his last three in good style. He heads the market. Tenbury Wells, Starcat and Maydani following closely in behind, and various others who come in at bigger prices later on. Steve, let's come to you first with this one. A pretty hot affair this. Plenty who are unexposed and plenty who are exposed, looking to rediscover some form. Where's your eye come on this one?
Yeah, I mean, looking through all the TV races this weekend, they look pretty tough, don't they, to unravel. That's getting my excuses in on early. Yeah, Ilarab, I was he's favourite, slightly surprised to see that one favourite. I mean, obviously visually impressive and a lot of potential, but not sure what he beat at Beverley last time, really. Tenbury Wells is the one I was slightly more impressed with. Just got chinned at Sandown last time after a good run at Ascot. Think this trip will be fine. Mark looks okay. Well, I just checked 90. I think that's pretty good. Just a £3 rise for that. You know, the 3-year-olds are progressing pretty quickly at this time of year, aren't they? I think there's a lot more to come, and I'd make that one the John Gosden runner my pick of the 3-year-olds and most likely winner. Of the older ones, Maydani is a horse I have liked in the past. I mean, the Glorious Goodwood win was very impressive, wasn't it? But just hasn't been able to back that up last time at York. But I mean, that was so bad that you just almost have to ignore that. And it is telling that he has run well after running badly, if you see what I mean. So could easily bounce back. Got Starcat in there as well. Kingbrook. I mean, it's a good race, but I think Tenbury Wells on balance just gets my verdict.
Tenbury Wells there for John Gosden. Jack, what about you? What do you fancy in this?
I agree with Steve. It's a tough race, and there are some tough races this weekend. And I've had a little bit of a look at this race, and I'm not that keen on any of the ahead of the market. But I'm absolutely convinced that Uzo is capable of winning a decent race. I know he's going up in trip here, which is a little bit of an unknown, but the way he's been finishing his races off over a mile, he looks like he'll get the trip. I mean, his sire, Charm Spirit, actually his offspring have got quite a good record over the trip, quite a good strike rate, and his dam was placed in an Italian Oak. So there's a bit of potential in him going up in distance. I'm sure 94 is not a bad mark. And that York handicap, he was fifth in last time behind Montapham, is potentially one of the hottest handicaps of the year. So I quite like this horse. He was gelded before York, and that was his first run for a couple of months. So I'm hoping he'll be a bit sharper now, and I think it's a decent each-way bet, Uzo, for me.
Uzo for Jack, lovely stuff. I'm going to side with the City's Phantom, who's only had 3 starts, but it's quite impressive at Yarmouth in a maiden handicap last time. And the horse that he beat that day has since gone on to score impressively himself. And with Holly Doyle in the saddle, I'd be very keen on that despite the rise in the weights. Good stuff, guys. That's the Dubai Duty Free Handicap. Moving on now to later in the card, we have the Dubai Duty Free Legacy Cup Stakes. Not many runners here, only 4 go to post, with Extra Elusive, who has really rediscovered some form recently under Holly Doyle. Desert Encounter, LR Cam, and Gifts of Gold. The market can't really separate the 4, and the ratings can't really either. They're very closely matched on their best form. Jack, come to you first for this one. Who do you fancy in this?
It's a trappy old race, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, I know he's got the penalty, Extra Elusive, but he is in great form at the minute. He's won his last 2 starts. Holly Doyle's made a massive difference to him, and he's been a bit of a tricky customer in his time, but he seems to have turned a corner a bit. And I just feel, of the 4, he's in the best form. Desert Encounter was a bit disappointing for me at Windsor and at Goodwood, to be honest. Ella Cam's had a very poor season. And then you've got the unexposed one at the bottom, the Gifts of Gold. Well, he's not unexposed, but there was an impressive win last time. But he'll have to step up. And I just think, yes, he's got to give him £3, but he's in great nick. And I think Extra Elusive's the solid one.
Extra Elusive, very solid indeed. Holly Doyle's really got something out of that horse recently. Steve, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, if you look at the form from this season in particular, I mean, Extra Elusive's miles better than the other 3 on all 3 runs. I mean, the listed race that he was second in back at Newbury start of the season was a pretty good run, certainly on the clock, and then followed up with a couple of Group 3 wins. I mean, Ella Cam's obviously very talented at best, but I mean, it's been flat a couple of times now. Desert Encounter has won this race twice, which is obviously a bit of a flag, but I don't know, that run at Windsor again, ran in snatches, didn't really seem that interested. And Gifts of Gold has been, running over further in the recent past, so obviously not expected to be a kind of pattern level horse, and hasn't proved to be so far. I mean, I think extra elusive, the only slight doubt is the extra furlong hasn't gone over this far before, but I can't see that being a problem, and should be hard to beat, really.
Completely agree with both of you. I think he's the one to beat for sure, even with that penalty. And I don't see the extra furlong being too much of a problem. He's been quite game recently in both his wins, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Moving on to the 325, the Group 2 Mill Reef Stakes. A very interesting contest, this one, with plenty of unexposed, exciting prospects. 5,000 to 1 in those famous King Power colours heads the market for Andrew Balding. Rhythm Master close up for John Dance. Then Bahrain Pride, who's won 2 out of 2, looks very exciting. Devil Wala, Line of Departure, Alcu Mate, Ken Gorm, and First Edition. Templegate, come to you first. I was quite surprised that Bahrain Pride wasn't favoured for this race. I think he's done all that's needed to be done so far. I was quite impressed with him last time, and he's beaten 5,000 to 1 on debut. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, Bahrain Pride and Rhythm Master are the two. I think I was 1 hour and over for this race. I think Bahrain Pride, the win at Ripon was very good and picked up really well and powered right through the line, in the manner of a nice horse. But I think, Rhythm Master has to be given an awful lot of credit for that run in the Group 1 last time over in France. Looked very green watching the race back again. Was slow out of the stalls, gave the front two too much to do, but was picking up nicely in the closing stages. I think there's plenty of improvement there, and that's the one I've gone for. I mean, Alchemate's a horse I liked at Goodwood. This is a big step up fair step up in class, and I think has a lot of ability. And as you say, Devil Waller, second in the Gimcrack, that was a very good run. Should be thereabouts, but I just think Rhythm Master's done it in the Group 1. Gone close in the Group 1 and I think has a lot of improvement to come.
Yeah, that was a fine performance, wasn't it, at Deauville in soft ground. Jack, would you agree with that, or would you fancy something else?
Well, yeah, I agree in the sense that I'm amazed when I saw after declarations today and I saw the betting that 5,000 to 1 was such a short price. I mean, River Master sets the standard on that excellent third in France. I think he's probably my idea of the winner, Rhythm Master, but I wouldn't be overly confident because some nice ones in here, like you say, Bahrain Pride, Devil Wallow was a good run at York. I agree with Steve, actually. Alchemates look very impressive at Goodwood. I know they think a lot of First Edition at Clive Cox's as well, so there's some really nice types in here. I think River Master's the likeliest winner. I probably won't have a bet, but I think it's going to be an informative race. It looks like a decent renewal, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. I think Rhythm Master is definitely got a massive chance. But I'm just going to stick on the side of Bahrain Pride because he really impressed me visually last time out at that performance at Ripon. We're going to move up to Ayr now, up to Scotland, and there's a couple of good races on the card. We're going to do a couple of races, but quickly, I don't know if either of you got any thoughts on the Doonside Cup. We weren't going to mention it, but it is quite a strong field for a listed race with Adabe in there, Fox Chairman, Lord Glitters. I'm going to throw you under the bus here, Steve. I don't know if you've looked at it at all, but is there anything you fancy in that?
I haven't had a close look at it yet, but Adabe's a horse I've always liked, and we'll see. I tell you what, it'd be interesting.
It's a late curveball there, buddy.
You can reverse. I'm just having an extremely in-depth look at the race now. Adabe's rock solid, isn't it? I mean, Group 1 performer, isn't it? And dropping into a listed race, so you would think you'd expect a good run from that one, wouldn't you?
Well, that's it. I mean, I wasn't going to put it in the schedule because it's a listed race, but actually it's attracted a couple of Group 1 horses in Lord Glitters, Adabe and San Donato as well. Jack, have you had time to look at it at all? Or?
I have not had time to look at it, Billy, so I will just keep my mouth shut.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully Adabe can give the penalty away and have another win because he is very good in this grade. We'll move on now to the Firth of Clyde Filly Stakes, which is a Group 3 for 2-year-olds. This has attracted a big field here with 15 runners, and Kulthum arguably has the best form in the race and is open to the most potential, some would say. Mamba Wamba also up there for Adrian Nichols, who's having a good season so far. Lullaby Moon and Ilikato too are quite short in the market. Jack, who do you like in this?
Yeah, it's quite a big field, but the market is just completely focused on Cool Thumb, if I pronounce that right. She's quite. I mean, it was a very good run, obviously, in the Loud the last time. That sets a pretty decent standard. This looks like a good opportunity for her, taking a slight drop in grade, but she is very short. So I think if I was going to have a punt on something, I might take a chance on Ilikato because I thought that was quite a nice run at Salisbury. She shaped pretty well there. I think Happy Romance, the filly that won that race, is very smart for the Richard Hannon yard. So I think she's about 10, 11 to 1, something like that. I think she's a solid each way bet. But Uncooltham, probably the one to beat, but a bit short for me.
Indeed, yeah, I agree with that. Coultham for me, best form in the race so far, and will take a lot of beating off a mark of 99. You would expect. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, just before we look at this race, have we had a chance to look at next year's Kim Muir Chase yet, Tom? I was just wondering. I know it's not on the schedule, but I was just wondering if you had any early thoughts. No, sorry.
I'm afraid not, mate. I'm afraid not.
I think everything Jack said makes perfect sense there. Coultham is the most likely winner. I mean, that run in the Lowther was pretty good, wasn't it? And especially as she was very green and didn't really go in a straight line early on, I don't think. Picked up really nicely. The draw should be fine as well. Low draw in a biggish field. And I agree about Illy Cato as well. I mean, on the clock, that was a good run at Salisbury. And as another one, she was wandering all over the place as well. So I think there's an awful lot more to come. And I think that could be the first and second. Hopefully, Coultham and Illy Cato can both hit the frame.
Excellent stuff. Uncle Thumb for three of us then. And now, finally, last but not least, is the big race of the weekend, the QTS Air Gold Cup. A massive field here. We're only going to go through a couple of the runners who are shorter in their betting, and one of them is Mr. Lupton. There's also Nahar for William Haggis, who is not quite at his best last time, but previously very impressive. A few others. Stone of Destiny, obviously, won very well at Donny, and a few others. Staxton, who won the Great St Wilfrid. It's a really hot race, this as it always is. Steve, coming to you first for this. A couple of you like in here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cracker, isn't it? I mean, we've had a couple of big price winners in recent years, haven't we? So for that reason, I'm going to go for possibly the favourite. I'm not a strange logic now. I mean, I was very taken by Mr. Lupton's run at the Curragh last time. And the plus about Mr. Lupton is that he's done that before and then backed it up within a couple of days as well. I've won a couple of times doing that. Obviously, this is a very tough race, but he's proven in a big field. He's got Billy Garrity on board, taking off the £5 penalty, so he's effectively off the same weight. This is a very tough race, but I think he'll go well. I mean, Stone of Destiny was very impressive last week in the Portland. And then if you're looking at a bigger prices, I mean, Bielsa and Spanish City are two that I thought would have a chance. Spanish City in particular was fifth at Ascot last time off this mark. I don't know, it's not a huge price. I think more than capable. There's a regular in the frame in races like this. And then Young Fire, I remember seeing with him very nicely at Haydock. And I think it's about 25 to 1 and has a fair chance each way. But I'm going to go for Mr. Lupton for the win.
Mr. Lupton for Mr. Richard Fahey there and for Mr. Templegate. Okay, lovely. And Jack, what about you?
Yeah, I think Stone of Destiny was very impressive in the Portland the other day. He's a horse I've followed for quite a while. He's always promised to win a couple of these big pots. He finally won one at Donny the other day. He's obviously £1 well in under his penalty here. Step up to 6 will be fine. Oisin Murphy's booked. I think he's got plenty in his favour, and he comes in rock solid form. So I'd probably say Stone of Destiny would be my main bet, and I might have a little saver as well on another bat for the David Barron team. He kind of lost his way a little bit, moved to David Barron, won first time out at Thirsk. He ran better than the Bear result at Leopardstown last time. He travelled nicely, but he was probably a little bit keen, did a bit too much too early. Drops back in trip, and he's on a good mark on his past form. He's a course and distance winner. So I think another bat, he's a decent each way bet. So I'll say Stone of Destiny and another bat will be my two in the Air Gold Cup.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, another bat for me too, actually. He's my main pick of the race. I think he's got more to come for his new trainer, Mr. Barron. And I thought he was quite an impressive winner 2 starts ago, and then the ground was against him last time. So I'm going to go with another bat in that absolute minefield that is the Air Gold Cup. Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much indeed. Some exciting races to look forward to this weekend. As you say, very competitive, Steve, but doesn't mean they're not going to be easy to get the winner of, hopefully. We'll see. But plenty of interesting thoughts there from both of you, and thanks very much indeed. We'll see you guys very soon. Thank you.
Love it.